All right, class. So week 10. Welcome to week 10 for this Intro to Missions mentoring style format. You guys have been doing a great job. Thank you for interacting with me with some Canvas questions. Please, if you're in need of any kind of point of clarification, don't ever hesitate to reach out. Love to help and to serve you guys as best as I can. You know, this is a missions class. This is what I teach. This is what I got my doctorate in. So I've always been focused in the realm of evangelism and missions. Had the opportunity to serve a short time, 3 years, but still served a short time with the International Mission Board, and then I also served with refugees and immigrants in Atlanta through the North American Mission Board. So this is my world. This is my heart. This is what I love and I'm focused on. Some of you might be actually wondering, it's not been brought up yet, but I'm bringing you guys through this Foundations book, and it feels very elementary, like. What in the world are we doing here, And it's important for you to ask those kinds of questions, because here's the basis of missiology. From my vantage point, I hope that that's across the board in the study of missiology. You have to build, first of all, the foundation on a biblical basis of mission, of Christian mission. And then from that, you build the theological basis of Christian mission. And then using the biblical basis and the theological basis, then you start to focus in on practices, best practices that are taking place. And of course, when we're talking about practices, we're talking about practices related to evangelism. We're talking about practices related to discipleship, church formation, leadership development. You get the picture? That's actually what the IMB refers to as the missionary task. So although we haven't done that yet, with really establishing a biblical basis or a theological basis, it is evident in what we did at the beginning, God's desire for the nations, and then also through this Foundations book. I hope that some of you will consider continuing additional studies in the field of missions, just because you'll get a lot of opportunities to focus on practice. You'll also get an opportunity to focus on particular targets. It could be urban missions. It could be related to Islam or another world religion. So that's some of the stuff that you get to do. This is an important chapter here in Foundations. Simply put, we're going to be concentrating on key terms. And to concentrate on key terms means to take a look. Let's just use this that I have up here. Looking at, for this particular week, you're looking at gospel. Got a couple pages there. Evangelism, conversion, disciple, and then discipleship. These are the pages that you guys are focusing in on for your time for personal edification, just looking at it, understanding it. How does your concept of the gospel, right, your understanding of the gospel, rooted in the scripture, how does that line up exactly with what the International Mission Board is sharing through their Foundations book? I'd be reading through this. I'd see these points in bold. I'd think through them just a little bit, and I'd really harness it to have a great conversation about the gospel with your mentor. And I want you to think about it in a few ways. I want you to think about it within your own context, but I want you to really think through what is the gospel when considering cross-cultural contexts. So if you take a look at this picture right here, you definitely see two cultures colliding together in one picture. Because of this, how do we go about making sure that the gospel is still the gospel, yet it might be presented in a different type of way? So this is important for you to think about, as we've talked about in weeks past about contextualization and indigenization. So there's some aspects that you can think through with regard to the gospel, evangelism as well, and of course talking about proclamation. Now I was thinking about this. What would be a great question with your mentor? I would just talk about like sweet spots regarding evangelism. When evangelism is really taking place in an effective way, in a great way. Has there ever been vibrant seasons of evangelism for your mentor? And what about you? What are the things that really help you to click with regard to living your life in an evangelistic way, meaning that you're using your life, especially your words, for the proclamation of the good news, especially to those who have not yet heard. So have a great time thinking through this and making sure that you create a robust conversation for it as well. Conversion, right? I mean, I've been preaching almost every weekend this semester in different churches. And conversion's a big deal, not only for what we do and how we practice that, how we recognize that within the life of our own churches and local contexts, but man, what does that mean, conversion, with regard to cross-cultural contexts? So really think through this and enjoy another round of conversation with your mentor. And then finally, you've got disciple and discipleship, right? The process of discipleship. This last one, in partnership with what it means to be a disciple. What does discipleship look like within your own context? What is your mentor aiming for? What are you aiming for when you disciple someone? Is there actually some sort of consistent, systematic approach? Are many of you just a life-on-life type of people with regard to your process for discipleship? Think through these things, and I get it. Some of you may not be fully immersed into ministry situations, but that's why you're in a class like this. You're in a class like this to think through discipleship from a missions perspective and be ready to actually test that through real life scenarios when you have those opportunities to be disciples who make disciples. All right, so that's it for this week. Continue to press on. I encourage you just to reach out anytime that you have need, and we'll touch base again next week.